Do you remember the very first thing that you ever invented? The first business that you ever started? Now, I realize, and it's obvious that I'm an American, so I will try my best not to overshare. But here's my story. I was 9 years old when I created my first invention. I used to spend my summers on a farm in Iowa with my grandparents. How many of you have heard of Iowa? A few of you have. Good. How many of you have been to Iowa? Yeah, exactly my point, right? America looks like this, Iowa right in the middle. We often say it's a great place to be from. So I spent my summers on this farm in Iowa, and it was idyllic. It's a beautiful place to spend your summers. But there was one thing that 9-year-old me wanted more than anything in the world, and that was a pet. I wanted an adoring, loyal best friend that would follow me around everywhere and hang on my every word. It's actually not much different than what I want today, really. And so I went to my grandparents to make my case. Please, 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 may I have a pet? I was so eloquent when I made my argument. But this was a working farm, and these were working people. Their answer was clear and concise. No way. This is a farm full of animals. We are not adding a pet to the mix. Now, what they said was no. But what I heard was yes. This is a farm full of animals. So I began putting my plan together. First, I had to pick just the right best friend. He was a beautiful orange tabby cat. The farm was full of cats, but they were feral, wild cats. They were there to catch mice. They weren't there to be pets. They didn't like people. They certainly didn't like 9-year-old girls. So I knew that I would need to get him to spend some quality time with me. And if he spent enough time with me, I believed that he would grow to love me. It's a strategy I still use today. So what I did was I began putting all of the ingredients together for what I would need. I had an old milk crate, a wire egg basket, there was an old board, part of a screen door, some twine, wire. I assembled what could really only be described as, well, a prison for my new best friend, a cat trap. And with my cat trap, I went and got the smelliest piece of salami I could, and I tucked it inside the cat trap, waiting for my best friend to come. But I knew he wouldn't come to the cage, new abode. I knew he wouldn't come to his new house if he saw me. So I tied some twine to the front door of the crate, and I stretched it over a branch, and I went and I hid behind the tree and waited for my new best friend. We'll leave the cat here for a second, because today is really about you. It's about you and your entrepreneurship journey, and I am so excited to be here with you. I actually have a huge soft spot for Greece. Now, there's a couple of real reasons why I do love Greece. The first one is your food is amazing. But the second reason that I love Greece is you. All of you, the Greek people, are amazing. I was exchanging emails with a friend of mine before I came out here this week, planning times to get together and hang out. And not a single message from Giannis had any less than a dozen exclamation marks. And that is what I think of you. You are a country of exclamation marks. And I totally love that. Yes, you are. See, it's an exclamation mark in applause. What more could you ask for, right? But we're 40 years on from my time in the farm. Don't do the math. And we're here today because of the question that I get asked so often when I go around the world and talk to entrepreneurs. I was in Beirut not long ago, and they asked me, what are the things that an entrepreneur needs to have or to be to succeed? And I said that there are 3 ingredients to being an entrepreneur, and there are 3 letters that make entrepreneurs different than everybody else. I'm here to share them with you today. I'm going to share you those 3 ingredients, and maybe you'll spot the 3 letters as we go along. The first ingredient that a successful entrepreneur needs is you. Now, I'm going to break a few hearts just now when I tell you that I am married. I know, it's going to be okay. I am married. Now, you don't know very much about me. We've only just met, really. But Let me just give you a little bit of insight. This is a lot to deal with. There's a lot going on here. So what kind of man do you suppose might be able to tame a woman like me? To get me to settle down for 18 years? Don't do the math. Maybe you're thinking he's like an SAS special ops officer, or perhaps he's a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, or maybe he's a licensed massage therapist. Yeah? You'd be wrong. He's an accountant. And he's not just any accountant. Back off, ladies. This one's mine. He's a very cautious and a very risk-averse accountant. When he says he wants to get to the airport early for us to catch a flight, I have to be sure that he doesn't mean the day before. That's happened. It's happened for real. So imagine the reaction I got when I went to him to tell him that I wanted to leave my 20-year corporate career in enterprise technology software in order to start my own business. I believe that I can tactfully summarize his response in 2 words. Hell no. But I knew that it was a yes. It was a yes for me, and it was a yes for us. All I had to do was to help him to understand the commitment I was willing to make. So I made him a promise. I promised that I would do everything in my power to make this venture a success. And that's the first thing. What does commitment look like? If you're wanting to start your own venture, what does that commitment look like? For some, it's persistence. Dyson made over 5,000 different prototypes before I was able to vacuum my living room the other day. And a fellow entrepreneur, founder by the name of Preston, he is a founder of a company called Millo. I remember him saying that the difference between a hobby and a business is the amount that you invest in it, your commitment to it. But it isn't just the big things. The decision to start a business, that's easy. It's the little things. Let me introduce you to a friend of mine. This is Katie Bulmer-Cook. Katie was a fitness entrepreneur, luckily, or this would be a really weird picture. Katie's a fitness entrepreneur, and she was also a contestant on The Apprentice. Now, the thing about Katie was that she was sitting with me in a bar one night and regaling me of tales of her time on The Apprentice. And while I was impressed with what she did to get onto stage, to get onto The Apprentice, I was most impressed by what she did to succeed. It was the little things. Katie told me how she knew that they would be getting them up at the crack of dawn in order to start their challenges for the day. So she cut her hair short so it wouldn't take her so long to get ready. She showered at night and she slept in her tights. So what are you prepared to do in order to make your venture a success? What big things and small things? Now, the second ingredient that a successful entrepreneur has is, as Paul mentioned before, an ecosystem. Now, I did say that I wasn't going to overshare, but I'm American, and I can't help myself. There was another man in my life. I know. So this other man in my life, our relationship really flourished, as many do, at a restaurant. And it was a wildly popular and famous restaurant in our neighborhood. And it turns out that, at the time, Jay was a gangly, awkward teenager. And me, I was an abrasive and kind of a loud-mouthed girl. It's, again, not really that different from now. Just not that different. But Jay gave me one of the best pickup lines ever when he said, "You should come check out my trophies." Yeah, that's what I thought. Turns out that Jay competed in speech. Yeah, that's right. He competed in getting up and giving talks to audiences. He suggested that I should do the same thing, that I would be great at it. Wow. I mean, who in their right mind, right? I was like, absolutely not. No way would I want to stand on a stage in front of dozens or hundreds or thousands of people and have a mic on and a spotlight and Yeah, Jay totally called that right. I do, I love it. But it was that ecosystem with Jay that encouraged me to do something I wouldn't have done otherwise. And it's that ecosystem that we need. So what's in your ecosystem? For some of us, it might be our families, like the mom who encourages her 2 young daughters to spend every evening writing speeches about what they would do if they were different world leaders. I mean, that's the ecosystem that created Indra Nooyi from the CEO of Pepsi. Or maybe your ecosystem is full of mentors. Mentors like Marco Veramis, co-founder of Upstream, a mentor to other entrepreneurial businesses, and an angel investor. I remember Shane Snow saying that, and Shane Snow, by the way, the co-founder of Contently, said that success is easier with a team. And he's right. So who is in your ecosystem? Who is driving you forward instead of holding you back? Look around you. Everybody take a moment. Look around. You're in a room full of ambitious, intelligent people, mostly. And this is your chance to get to know some of them, to build your ecosystem. The third thing that they need is a strategy. Now, I told you about my first invention, but it was certainly not my last, and Paul alluded to some of this. I have a box of prototypes at home, a notebook full of ideas. Some of them are pure genius. For example, there was the cord sock that would compress my cords so that I could fit more in my bag. And there was the line of removable home improvement products that you could use in a rental property to get rid of the ugly fireplace. And there was the app that would finally solve my salsa problem. I mean, how long is salsa good for in the refrigerator exactly? But one of my inventions did make its way out recently. Last June, I was using a prototype that I had created. I was at an event and I wanted to make a video of it on my phone, but as you know, when you take videos on your phone, it's just rubbish. So I created a little prototype. And that prototype was a little black box with duct tape around it. It had super glue and a pin attached to the back so that I could wear it, and it enabled me to get audio from a distance of my phone, a small Bluetooth microphone. Now, that small Bluetooth microphone got spotted by a friend of mine who was also a serial entrepreneur. And as a serial entrepreneur, he was fascinated. He loved it. And the next thing that I knew, 1 week later, we were sitting in a restaurant in London, shaking hands and agreeing to manufacture and take it to market. Now, that's interesting, right? But what's more interesting is we did it in 90 days. 90 days from my prototype in a hand to manufactured, packaged, marketed, and available for sale. 90 days. Now you can do the math. And that 90 days, now we're on to 9 months. So 9 months from that handshake, and our product has been sold in dozens of countries. And I just started testing the next iteration of my prototype. I don't tell you that because I think that Hey Mike is some amazing, unusual invention. This is a room full of spectacular ideas. I tell you that because sometimes we have to start small in order to get big. Take, for example, another Midwesterner, as we like to say. They're from Missouri, right? America, big country. Iowa, right in the middle. Missouri, just off center. The team from Zapier actually started as a weekend initiative, a weekend code cramming session. They weren't from the Silicon Valley. They didn't have funding, but they had a great idea. And they were willing to work their nights and their weekends to make that happen. Fast forward to now, and they've built a spectacular business that has been funded again and again. But it didn't start that way. Sometimes we have to start small in order to get big. I told you that you'd need a strategy, but it isn't just a strategy or a plan. It's what are you going to do every single day to make progress? Because that's what we're about. The measure of success for an entrepreneur isn't that they want to be an entrepreneur. It isn't that they say that they're an entrepreneur. It's that they are doing something that makes them an entrepreneur. I told you that there were 3 ingredients: you, your ecosystem, and your strategy. Did you find the 3 letters? The 3 letters. These 3 letters are what make entrepreneurs different than everyone else. They're what make us special. Remember the cat? What do you think? Did I catch the cat? Who thinks I caught the cat? Yes? Let's hear the applause. Who thinks I caught the cat? Okay. Who thinks I didn't catch the cat? Really split down the middle. Well, I was stood behind the tree waiting for my new best friend, and he came around the house. And as he walked up to his new home, before I could even blink an eye, he shoved his paw in the side, grabbed the salami, pulled it out, and ran off. It was my first prototype failure. I did make more iterations. I did eventually catch the cat. He made it clear he wasn't as excited about my plan as I was. A few well-placed scratches, and we agreed to call it a day. But I did sell that trap to a kid down the road for 2 candy bars. It was my first reseller experience. Oh yeah. So the challenge for you today is, this is the perfect place and the perfect moment and the perfect opportunity. What will you say yes to today? Because more than anything, this is what makes you different. Entrepreneurs are surrounded and embedded in a world full of no. But entrepreneurs don't accept the no. We look for something better, something bigger, something stronger. We look for our yes. So here is what I want for you. I want you today to take this opportunity at this moment here in amazing Athens, and I want you to find your yes.